on module 5 few concepts on module 5. So in module 5 we have introduction to compensation techniques. So we'll be discussing on compensation techniques. In this we have state related few topics as well as Nyquist and polar plot. All these things are there here. Okay, so first we will be discussing on the introduction to compensation techniques. So, so there are different types of compensators are used to improve the response of the system, and they are used independently to improve the performance of the system. So it is very much required for us the requirement of this compensation techniques. This is very much required in order to improve the steady state error characteristics, and all these performance characteristics can be improved. Okay. uh, so we will be discussing on this compensation techniques which comes in module 5. So few more topics on module 5 we'll be discussing. So in if the system gain is adjusted to meet the transient response specifications, the steady state error performance will be deteriorated, and since both the transient response and the steady state error coefficients are related to the gain, so you have to relate the steady state error and the transient response related transient response and the steady state error coefficients has to be related to the gain. So what will happen? Higher the gain, if the gain is high, the smaller will be the steady state error. So you have to always make sure that the steady state error is less, and you have a better gain performance. So, but larger will be the percentage overshoot. So, as I have told you, when you are improvising some parameters, no, some other parameters gets affected. So, here when you are having a high gain, the steady state error will be small and the percentage overshoot will be large. So you have to balance those things and move ahead further. So here in this, the compensation techniques will help you to overcome these things. So the purpose of compensating network is to meet the transient response and the steady state error specifications simultaneously. So what this compensation techniques will be doing here is it will meet the transient response as well as the steady state error specifications. It will be met simultaneously. So compensator that use pure integration for improving the steady state error, or pure differentiation for improving the transient response. So you can use the compensator that uses pure integration for improving the steady state error, or you can use the compensator for pure differentiation, diffract so for improving the transient response. So they are defined as the ideal compensator. So it is very important that it's very difficult, in fact, to get an ideal compensator. But here, what do we mean by this is you can use the compensator as an integration process to for improving the steady state error, or you can differentiation for improving the transient response. So as per the requirement of the user, you can see to that what is to be done, and you can improvise the system as per the need of the user. So the ideal compensator can be realized by using an active network, which is in the case of electrical networks required and requires the use of active amplifiers and additional power sources. So these are some of the electrical networks which require active amplifiers as well as the power sources. So what is the advantage of using these things? The advantage of ideal integral compensators is that the steady state error is reduced to zero. So you can see that the steady state error will be reduced to zero, and there are lot many advantages as well. So this is one of the major thing that ideal integral compensator. You have seen that there will be integral as well as differential compensators. And when you talk about the integral compensator, the steady state error will be reduced to 0. So the other design techniques that avoid the active devices for compensators are called as practical compensators, realized by using the passive elements such as resistors and capacitors. So you will be also designing the compensators which are called as a practical compensators, which can be used by the passive elements such as resistors and capacitors, and you can go for the design as per your requirement. So they does not use pure integration and differentiation. As I have told you, the compensators will be using the integration process or the differentiation process for generating the better output. So they do not use this passive elements like the resistors, capacitors, which you are using for the compensator. They does not use pure integration and differentiation, and are not ideal compensators. So advantage of practical compensator is, if you are going with the practical compensator, they will be very cheap in cost, and do not require additional power sources. So these are some of the advantages in comparison to the other compensators. So practical compensators, if some cases you don't want to improve, you want to maintain your cost, so you may have to go with the practical compensator. So that will be very cheap and require additional power sources, does not require additional power sources for the operation. So some of the disadvantages are also there, that is the steady state error is not driven to 0. So this is some of the disadvantages of practical compensator, that the steady state error is not driven to 0. So when you take the electrical network, if you let us take some of the electrical network with resistors and capacitors as the elements, are classified as three classifications we will be studying here. This is very important. The major three classifications are lead compensation, lag compensation, and lead lag compensation. So lead compensation, if you want some applications lead, you can go with that lag compensation, or the combination of lead and lag. You call it as lead lag compensation or lead lag network. Okay. So there are two important configurations here. One is called as the cascade compensation. Another is called as the feedback compensation. So based on your requirement, the two important configurations will be there. One is called as the cascade compensation. Another is called as the feedback compensation. So we will be studying further. So this cascade compensation technique, where you can see that the cascade compensator is cascaded with the plant. So C of S, which is called as the cascade compensator, and the plant GP of S. So you can see that they are cascaded to each other with a negative feedback mechanism. So this is called as the cascade compensator. Then you go with the feedback compensation techniques, means you can see the plant over here, and this is the feedback process, that is HC of S will come there. So you are going with the negative feedback. So this process is called as a feedback compensation technique. So major two classifications are there. So we are studying the compensation techniques of module 5, where you can see that there are two compensation techniques. One is called as the cascade compensation, another is called as the feedback compensation technique. So let me just discuss on the first one, lead compensator and its characteristics. So first we are going to discuss on the lead compensator. Lead compensator, you can see that you have a circuit diagram for that, which will give the phase lead network, and the phase lead network can be obtained by having the resistor component R1, C1 and R2. So this combination of circuit is called as a phase lead network, and when you take the Laplace domain, when I convert this into Laplace domain, I can say that I can write it as 1 by SC1, R1 and R2, and this is called as a phase lead network in the Laplace domain. So you need to draw these figures when you are asked for the lead compensation. Now what we have to do further is we'll be writing the equations for the lead compensation. So how to go with the equations, let us see. So what you have to understand here is the resistor in combination with the capacitor C1, and you are having a combination in this form which will give you the phase lead network. And the equations we are going to see further now, how the equations can be represented. So the transfer function for that first order compensator is called as GC, and that is for that network you will be getting it as K into S plus Z divided by S plus P. So what is the design is to select Z, P and K in order to provide a stable performance. So if you want to have a better performance, you have to select the corresponding values of this K, S, K, Z and as well as P. As per the design of that, you will be saying that you will be seeing that there will be a fluctuation in the performance of the lead network. Okay, so here when Z is less than P, we are taking a condition that here we have Z and P both, and let me take that Z is less than P. The network is called as the phase lead network and has the poles and zeros. When you find out the poles and zeros, you can see that it will be represented in this form. So you can see P represents the poles and Z represents the zero. So it will be placed in the S plane in this form. So when the value of Z is less than poles. Okay, so this is the pole zero diagram for the phase lead network. And when you understand the poles is very much away from the origin, so you can see that here it is the origin and the poles it is away from the origin, that is P greater than Z, and the zero occurs at the origin of the S plane. If zero occurs at the, this is the zero denoted by Z, and pole is denoted by P, we have a differentiator having the transfer function. So if that is the case, the transfer function will get modified to GC of S is equal to K divided by P into S. Hence the compensation network gives the transfer function of this differentiation type. Okay, so when you understand further the S-plane representation, where you have represented the poles and zeros of a lead compensator network, is as shown in figure, you have seen that, and the transfer function for that in terms of voltage is V out of S divided by V input of Vi of S. So by the principle of voltage division, you can write it as GC of S is equal to V out by Vi, or it can be written as Z2 divided by Z1 plus Z2, where you can see in this diagram you have the combination of Z1 and Z2 can be written as Z1 is equal to R divided by 1 plus S C1 R1, and Z2 will be same as that of R2. So let me just substitute Z2 and Z1. So in the equation, when I substitute the Z1 and Z2 in the equation, I get GC of S is equal to R2 divided by R1 divided by 1 plus SC1 R1 plus R2. After simplification, we will get it as R2 into 1 plus SC1 R1 divided by R1 plus R2 plus SC1 R1. So this is what, when you do it, substitutions of Z1 and Z2. So this is what it takes place in the lead network. And when you proceed further, so in the lead compensation, we need to take it forward. What we got here is R2 into 1 plus SC1 R1 divided by this denominator. So I am just taking the common terms outside. Let me just take R2 divided by R1 plus R2 as common outside. The rest of the terms gets modified in this form, that is 1 plus SC1 R1 divided by 1 plus SC1 into R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Further simplification, I can write it as R2 divided by R1 plus R2 is 1 plus. So I can write it as R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into this is same as that of the previous one. So if I write it in this form, this R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2 can be denoted as alpha. So R1 alpha is R1 plus R2 divided by R2, and you can write it as 2 is equal to R1 R2 C1 divided by R1 plus R2. So I can just represent those things here. My equation of GC of S will become 1 by alpha TS divided by alpha into 1 minus TS. So let me take the condition that 1 by alpha is less than 1. If I consider 1 by alpha less than 1 and the attenuation is alpha, in the frequency domain compensation you can say that the attenuation of the network and k will be equal to alpha then, and with the amplifier with a gain k, hence the gain transfer function of a lead compensation network can be represented in this form, that is k into 1 plus alpha ts divided by alpha into 1 plus tau s. It is tau alpha tau s divided by 1 alpha into 1 plus tau s. So this gives the transfer function of the first order lead compensation network, and you can see that GC of S is equal to, further simplification, I am just rearranging the terms by taking alpha tau outside. So let me just take k into alpha tau. I can write it as S plus 1 by alpha tau, and here also I have taken alpha tau outside, S plus 1 by 2. So GC of S, we will get it as K into S plus Z divided by S plus P, which we have defined it before. So Z will be equal to 1 by alpha 2 and P will be equal to 1 by 2. What is Z and P? Z is the 0 and P is the pole. So A greater than 1, we can say that Z will be always less than P. Hence, the network what we have defined before can be called as a phase lead network. So this is what you have to justify after finding out the values of Z and P, that is 0 and pole. You can say that Z will be less than P, and when Z is less than P, you can say that it is a phase lead network. So this is all about the phase lead network. Now the other compensation technique which is called as a lag compensation technique. So what happens when it is we have seen the lead compensation technique. Now the next one is lag compensation technique. So in lag compensation technique, what you can see here, in lag compensation, the poles with its poles on the origin requires an active integrator, and if the passive network, the poles and zeros are moved to the left, close to the origin as shown in the figure, and we may feel that the placement of poles even though does not increases the system, and there's also improvement in the static error coefficients of the uncompensated system. So what you can see here is the poles will be in the case of lag network, but I just want to compare it with the lead network first. As you have seen the poles and zeros available here, you can see the 0 is closer to the origin and P is away from the origin. But in the case of lag compensation, what you can see is poles are closer to the origin compared to the zeros are a bit far. You can represent the poles and zeros on the S plane as shown in the figure. Okay, so what is the basic representation of a lag compensator? So the lag compensator, what you can see here is this is the compensation system where you have a lag compensator in cascade with the plant. So what is the lag compensator? GC of S is equal to S plus Z divided by alpha into S plus P. So this combination is having in combination with the plant. So you will be getting the entire compensation circuit. So let me just take you through the figure. So this is the basic representation of a lag compensator, where you have GC of S is equal to S plus Z divided by alpha into S plus P. So even though the ideal lag compensator drives the steady state error, the potential lag compensator has poles, not zeros on the origin. So as I have discussed with you, the poles and zeros will be represented as shown before. So there will be a significant insignificant effect upon the transient response, and poles and zero pair, the pair of poles and zero of the compensator are placed close to the origin. So you, that's what I told you before. So the phase lag compensator utilizes the attenuation of the network at high frequency. So when you go with the lag compensator, the compensator diagram or the phase lag compensator network will be in this form. You will be having R1, R2 in combination with C1. So this is how the phase lag network will be. You have already seen the phase lead compensator. In the lead compensator, you will be having in this form R in R1 and C1 and R2. But in the case of lag compensator, you can see that it will be in this form R1, R2 and C1. So let us go back to the equation of that and understand that how this can be represented. Once you take the phase lag network in the Laplace domain, you can say that it will be R1, R2 and 1 by SC2. So I have just put it in the Laplace domain, and then going with the equation what we have done before, similar to that. So GC of S is equal to V out of S divided by Vi of S, and when you substitute that, you will get R2 plus 1 by SC2 and divided by R1 plus R2 plus 1 by SC2. So I have to simplify this. When I go for simplification, you will be getting it as R2 C2 S plus 1 divided by R1 plus R2 into C1 C2 S plus 1. So when from this equation, you can say that tau is equal to R2 C2 and alpha will be equal to R1 plus R2 plus R2 divided by R2. So from these equations, we can come to a conclusion that GC of S is equal to, just by substitution, you can write it as 1 plus tau S divided by alpha into 1 plus alpha tau S. Taking the terms alpha and all outside, you will get it as 1 plus Z divided by S plus Z divided by alpha into S plus P. So from this, what you can write, Z is equal to 1 by tau and P is equal to 1 by alpha tau. So what you can understand here, since A is greater than 1, we find that the poles is nearer to the origin as than that of the 0. So in the lag compensation, you can see that the poles are closer to the origin compared to the zeros, but in the case of lead compensation, you can see that zeros are closer to the origin compared to that of poles. So that is what the observation we found, and we get Z is equal to 1 by 2 and P is equal to 1 by alpha 2. Now this, you have now understood both the lead compensation as well as the lag compensation. When you understood the lead and lag compensation, if some applications will be in such a way that you need the both the things, like you may need the lead compensation properties as well as the lag compensation properties. So when you need both the lead and lag compensation properties, you have to come out with a new thing that is called as a lead lag compensator, or you can also call it as lag lead compensator. So we'll be having a setup called as the lead lag compensator, or also called as a lag lead compensator. So we'll be studying this, where the lead lag or lag lead, you have the combination of both lead as well as the lag network. So that is what we'll be seeing here. In the case of lead lag compensation, you can see that as the name suggests, you can see that it will have both the properties of a lead compensator as well as a lag compensator. So it can be called as a lead lag compensator, or you can call it as a lag lead compensator. So both the things are same. So why we need to study this lead lag compensator is, some applications demands for lead compensator, some will demand for lag compensator, somewhere the combination of both lead and lag may be required, so we have to go with the lead lag compensator. So let me just take you through the lead lag compensator. So in the case of lead lag compensator, it improves the rise time and the damping. So why we need the phase lead compensator, which is there, which has the ability to improve the rise time and the damping, but increases the natural frequency of the closed loop system. So, but lag, if you take the lag compensator, what is the advantage? It improves the damping, but result in a longer rise time and settling time. So some of the things are advantages for in case of lead compensation, but some of the things are having disadvantages in lead compensation. But in lag, you have some advantages and disadvantages. So if you go for the lead lag network, what you can say that is you are going to fulfill the most of the requirements of the user, whoever want to go for this either lead or lag process of compensation. Okay, so therefore if you consider a system therefore cannot be compensated satisfactorily by one of the compensating system acting alone, so it is advisable that wherever necessary to go for the compensation is utilized. So some in this lead lag network, what we can say is you have to maximize the advantage of the lead network or the lag network, so as per your requirement. So that is what the flexibility for this lead lag network is. Like if you want to improve the rise time, you should go with the lead compensation, and if you want to improve the damping, you have to go with lag compensation, so that you can have a combination of both in this case. So the lead lag compensator is the combination of a lead compensator and a lag compensator, as I have told you. So the lag section has one real pole and one real zero, with poles on the right to 0. So this is what you have, and the lead section will have one real pole and one real 0, but 0 is to the right of the pole. So we have seen already these things in the previous class for previous topic in the case of lead compensation as well as lag compensation. So how the diagram will look like? So first let me take you through the equation. So we can write gc of s is equal to s into 1 plus 2 and s into 1 plus 1 divided by 2 and denominator will be s plus 1 by beta tau 1, and here it will be s plus 1 by alpha tau 2. So this section is called as a lag section, and this is called as a lead section. The condition is beta should be greater than 1 and alpha should be less than 1. So when you go for the network, as we have seen the lead compensation as well as lag compensation, when we go for the network of a lead lag compensator, you can see that you have a lead combination here as well as a lag combination here. So it is combination of both the lead and lag, so it is called as a RC lead lag network. And you take the Laplace domain, in the S domain you will get it in this form: 1 by SC1 R1 and R2 1 by SC2. So let me just take you through the poles and zeros, placement of poles and zeros. So you can see that the poles will be placed here and the zeros will be available in this form. So it will be having 1 by minus 1 by beta tau 1 as one of the pole, and minus 1 by alpha tau 2 as one of the pole. Then zeros will be minus 1 by tau 1 and minus 1 by tau 2. So these are the things you can see in the case of a lead lag network or a lag lead network. So we need to understand these things with the help of few equations. So we need to apply a few equations and check how these things can be written. So when you go back to the equations, what you can see is is combination of a lead and a lag compensator can be used by applying a voltage division process. So as we have discussed in the case of lead compensator and lag compensator, GC of S can be represented as V out of S divided by V in of S, V out of S divided by V input of S. So we have here the network which is having both the combinations of lead as well as the lag setup. So when you write the equation of GC of S, you will be getting it as R2 plus 1 by SC2, and here denominator will be R1 into 1 by C1S divided by R2 plus 1 by C1 of S whole divided by that plus R2 plus 1 by SC2. So now we are going to simplify this process of lead lag network for GC of S. When you take the common denominator and simplify that, so it will be coming in this form. So here in the case of lead lag compensator, which is to be discussed here, when you simplify that, you will be getting in this form, that is SC2 R2 plus 1 in divided by SC2 divided by R1 divided by R1 C1 S plus 1 plus S into C2 R2 plus 1 divided by SC1, and you will be getting further these equations, that is SC1 R1 plus 1 into SC2 R2 plus 1 divided by this denominator. So further when we simplify, you will be ending up with this, that is R1 C1 S plus 1 into R2 C2 S plus 1 divided by R1 R2 C1 C2 S square plus R1 C1 plus R2 C2 plus R1 C1 C2 into S plus 1. So you can say that this can be written in this form, that is GC of S can be written as the final equation. So this is the final equation where you can say that it is the lead compensation or lag compensation. So it is combination of both lead and lag compensation, and it can be written as S in GC of S is equal to S in S plus 1 by R1 C1 into S plus 1 by R2 C2 divided by S square plus 1 by R1 C1 plus 1 by R2 C2 plus 1 by R2 C1 multiplied by S plus 1 by R1 R2 C1 C2. So this is what the final equation you will get for the lead and lag compensation. So we have understood the uh, understood the lead compensation. We have seen that there are different compensation techniques. We have understood the lead compensation, we understood the lag compensation, and the combination of lead and lag compensation. So just to brief you a while, I'll just say that this is the first one what we have studied with respect to lead compensator, and this is the lead compensator what we had, where the phase lead network is formed, and by taking the Laplace we got those things. And finally we end up with the poles and zeros. We know that in the case of lead network, the zeros will be placed closer to the poles, and we have all these things. And finally we completed the equation for the lead compensation, and it was observed that 0 is 1 by alpha tau and pole is 1 by tau. What you can understand here is zeros will be modulus of 0 will be less than modulus of pole, and which states that this can be used as a lead compensation network. And in the case of lag compensation network, what we discussed before, you can see that the poles and zeros, when you find, the poles will be closer to the origin as compared to that of zeros, and you can see that the lag compensator being placed in cascade with the plant. So this is what the lag compensator you got, the figure for the lag compensator, where R1, R2 and C2 everything is there, and you have this combination. This is called as the lag network. So we have also seen the equations for the lag network. We found that Z is equal to 1 by 2 and P is equal to 1 by alpha 2, and we find that poles is near to the origin than the zeros, and this is what you get it. So when you consider the combination of lead and lag networks, so as I have discussed before, the lead lag combination of networks, some of the advantages of lead networks and some of the advantages of lag network can be clubbed together, and you can use the properties of a lead lag network. So the lead lag compensation basically focus on the improvising the rise time or damping, as well as all those things can be improvised, and if you want to minimize the settling time, all those things can be looked into. So that is the main purpose, and since you have combination of both lead and lag together, so we can say that it has the both the properties of lead network and lag network. When you talk about the poles and zeros, the poles and zeros will be placed in this form, and when you go back to the circuit diagram, you can see that this is having a lead compensation, lag compensation, as well as a lead compensation section. So this section will act as a lead and this will act as a lag, because we have already seen that. So once you take this lead and lag network, you can see that the poles and zeros will be in this form, and you have derived the equation for the entire GC of S, which comes to almost in this form, which you can see here, and where the final equation is GC of S is equal to YS plus 1 by RC1 R1 C1 into S plus 1 by R2 C2 divided by S square plus 1 by C1 R1 plus 1 by C2 R2 plus 1 by C1 R2 into S plus 1 by R2 C2 R1 R2 C1 C2. So this is what you can understand from this lag compensation lead and lag lead compensator. So this is what it is there in module 5 as one of the topic. Further on we will be discussing on rest of the topics as well, where you will be understanding the polar plots or Nyquist plots, as well as the state transition metrics and all those things. So for the next class, I want you to go through the properties of matrix, which will be helpful for you, and you can just see that how best we can understand those things. So I want all of you to go through the matrix properties like A inverse, adjoint of A, and all those things, whatever you have studied in your basic mathematics. So how to find the edge of A, and how to find out the A inverse, or how to find out the coefficients, all those things, and uh, what do you mean by symmetric matrix and all those things. So all matrix properties, whichever it is there, you can just go through it, which will be helpful for you to understand the upcoming class, which will be on the state model. So that we'll be discussing in the next class regarding the state model and state transition equations and all those things. So after that we'll be going to the polar plot, and then we'll understand the Nyquist plot. That will be all done. That's all the combination of this fifth module. So we'll be doing it in the subsequent classes. So you can just go through all these things, whatever we have discussed, and make sure that it's clear for you. So, is that clear for you? The lag network, lead network, and lag lead network, whatever we have discussed now, is there any doubt for you? Is that clear? Lead lag and lead lag. If you have any doubts, you can discuss with me. I will clarify that. Is that clear for all of you? See, if you have any doubts, you just let me know that. Is that clear for all of you? Okay, I think you don't have any doubts there. So if you have any doubts, you can feel free to discuss. Okay. So with this, we can just wind up for today, and we will continue with the rest of the topics in the upcoming classes. Okay. So today I will wind up here. So that's all. If you don't have any doubts, we will stop it for today here, and we will continue with the state transition metrics and state model and all those things in the next class. Okay. Okay, that's all. Thank you for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Just